All right, somebody sent me this very interesting and kind of disturbing video. I can't even. I don't even know if I can read the title. To be honest with you, obviously everything's in the description, but it's about a terrible father on TikTok. We'll say a pretty horrific situation. So let's just see what we got here. It's by A Puncho.
And you met with the father who adopted several foster kids, and he says as much as he's given
Foster
to them,
kids.
they've given a lot more back.
They have definitely, and we're talking 9 boys.
Tonight, an adoptive father of 9 boys is in jail, charged with horrific crimes. He is accused of abusing one of those boys who called into a podcast trying to get help.
The kid called into a podcast to get help. Okay, that's scary. TikTok's most disturbing case. Yeah, what do?
In early January of 2017,
I have to turn myself
33-year-old
down.
Haim Nissim Cohen would post his first YouTube video with his
Okay.
9 adopted sons. Haim had done the rounds in local media circuits.
I think adoption and fostering are like a beautiful thing. You know, I think it's a fantastic thing, but you know, some of these people who do it, clearly, I don't know, clearly not the best intention. It's just sad.
Due to his generosity. Given the situation the family found themselves in, it's to no surprise that they started to post online and share what their life was like. Over the years, their content really started to gain traction, more so on TikTok than YouTube, although their YouTube following was growing too. In February of 2023, operations came to a halt. The family stopped posting on social media, and for a brief period it seemed as if they gave up on their internet journey. However, the truth was much darker.
If you don't talk about it, he could be doing that to your little brothers. They're 7 and 8 years old. You don't want, geez, like anything could happen. And if he's doing that to other kids, he could bring you guys diseases, anything.
I'm aware, but
Who's this person talking to exactly?
I'm just waiting in order. I'm essentially waiting until I'm 18 because I actually have a timer, like a quite literal timer.
When you say rape,
February
do
16th.
you mean rape or do you mean molest? Like, is he actually
I feel like those are the same things, no?
No,
penetrating?
no, yes, I'm aware of the difference.
I guess I'm
I
wrong.
turn 18 in 16 days, 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 11.
Well, if this is one of the people that they're talking to, it sounds like they're trying to wait until they're 18 so that they can leave. And they you know, because here's the thing, and I'm sure that the system probably isn't exactly working for this person in these instances. They are probably worried that if they tell the cops that the cops will be ineffective, and then they won't be able to get any justice. And then they're going to be stuck in the house, and the dad's going to be like, the adopted father is going to be like, oh, you know, you told on me, I'm going to harm you in some capacity.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7,
This is really bothering me
6,
right now.
5,
Not even.
4, 3, 2, 1, 16 minutes, 1 hour and 16 days.
Okay.
Not much is known about Haim's early years, other than he was born into a Catholic family, and was originally named Jeffrey Lujan
Oh, I thought he was Jewish with the hair, the curls, but I guess they're not curly.
Vigil. The name change came as the result of Haim switching faiths later in life.
Oh,
It was
wait,
after
am I
he
right?
moved to Dallas to work as an office manager that he became attracted to Judaism. He came to us one day
Okay.
and said, I'm going to convert. I was shocked at first because at one point in his life he wanted to become a priest, but then I thought it was beautiful. In 2010, he filed
I feel like Catholicism and Judaism are somewhat similar, right? And Judaism follows the Old Testament, and well, Christianity follows the New as
for
well.
a name change and cited his faith conversion as a reason. Haim had been a well-established volunteer with various charities and organizations by 2010. He helped those in need. Although his mother stated that he moved to Dallas to become an office manager, the truth might be slightly different. I moved to Houston to study social work and began working in summer camps. I helped children with difficult home life.
Jesus Christ. So this guy's just basically like a serial predator going around, quote unquote, helping children by just finding vulnerable children to take advantage of. Jesus.
I was in my early 20s when I became a volunteer for centers for children and families in West Texas. From there, I was exposed to the need for foster as well as adoptive parents. I remember the day so clearly when I
Did this guy have a wife when he adopted these? Well, adopted them, or which I know sounds weird, but I feel like there'd probably be a reduced chance if you had like a partner with you,
received a phone call about 2 children who had
of
been
being
placed in
I
foster
don't know,
care.
of getting away with it. You know what I mean? So, does he by himself, like, fostering and molesting these kids? I didn't even know that they let single people foster.
I called Child Protective Services the same day to offer my help. I sent books and food to the boys. As time passed, the care worker called me to ask if I would become licensed to foster the boys. And so the journey began. Haim would act as a foster father to those boys, and eventually he adopted them. The adoptions wouldn't stop there though, because as you know, over the next few years he adopted a total of 9 boys. The mother
Jesus
never had a
Christ.
stable home and had been living from place to place. She often left the children in the care of other people for an extended period of time without contacting them. This is how an investigator from the Department of Family and Protective Services would describe the mother of 2 of the children that were in Haim's care. The boys, both brothers, had came from an extremely neglectful and abusive home. Their father had died when they were young. Their mother was a drug addict who was in and out of jail. She had a history with the department, but all cases up until the most recent one, when the boys were put into Haim's care, were dismissed as family members would normally step forward to take the children under their wing. The boys would end up in Haim's care after agents from Family and Protective Services decided it was time to fully remove them from the care of the family after the following was discovered during a lengthy investigation. The boys were physically assaulted by their mother's boyfriend. They were dirty as they had nowhere.
So when they say physically, are they talking about? I mean, I'm assuming that just means like beat, not sexually assaulted. Okay.
To clean. They weren't being fed. They missed out on school. They had to take care of themselves and were exposed to hard drugs.
Jesus.
Similar circumstances.
I'm assuming that they're like drug addict in the house. Was this like? Well, I guess it's not the father, but was this person, like some kind of an addict or some kind of a drug dealer or a drug seller?
Maybe even worse, would have been the case for all 9 boys. So as you can see, they were extremely vulnerable and needed a loving home, which Haim provided. The family had made the rounds in local media circuits given the situation at hand, although articles have understandably been wiped from the internet given the circumstances of the case. People fell in love with the story though. A single man since his early 20s had given a new life to 9 children with the potential to go on to adopt more. To members of
Damn, that's horrible. I couldn't imagine these kids. Like the guy was getting praised for what was going on because he's adopting all these kids. Meanwhile, he's a horrible predator, and everybody thinks that he's such a good person while he's like molesting these little boys. It's fucking terrible.
their fan base, they appeared to be the perfect family. The boys were respectful. Haim gave them the life that they deserved, but most of all, they had fun together and shared lots of memories. That was all for the camera though. Something much darker was taking place behind the scenes. Something that many could never have imagined. And this whole situation was about to be blown wide open on January 30th, 2023, when one of the 9 boys called into a podcast to reveal all.
I do know the sergeant personally, and I know the commander.
Okay.
Now, the problem here is it's essentially my word versus all of my brothers, and I don't want to give any information that could... I already know how NCIC and PCIC work.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't really factor that in as well. That the other brothers would say like, "No, this is not true. He's lying to protect themselves." Yeah, that's fucking horrible. I didn't even think about that. That's terrible. You'd have to have some actual, like, real concrete proof.
I know how a lot of the different things work, so I don't want to provide too much detailed information. I just want to know what should be done. I don't.
Well, it's not your word against your brothers, because your brothers are not the ones that's doing this to you, right? Is it?
No. But technically, when it comes to the CPS investigations, there has been 8 launched, and all of them were acquitted. So I'll make this slightly even worse. Since we were little, seeing that we came from CPS, we had very obvious cognitive issues, specifically 3 of my brothers, and they happen to all take psychotic medications. You can see where this is rolling. He has a doctor who was friends with him, and I'm speaking of my father now, and he essentially had us all placed on medication. So, hold on, I was just checking to see if my father was coming home because I thought that there was a car. So essentially what I'm saying is, anytime we make a CPS investigation, he'll either bribe us or he'll just directly scare us. And two of my brothers are 7 and 8, so there's no chance. We do not have cameras inside. I'm smart enough to take a burner phone, which is what this phone is operating through. It's just Wi-Fi. My dad doesn't even know I have it. But anyway, I'm about to be 18, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I have a driver's license, which is valid, and the thing about it is I'm not allowed to have it.
Let me
And I
ask you a
also
question.
have
Where
work.
are you at right now? Can you just leave and go somewhere? Like, if I gave you a safe place to go, will you be able to go there?
Not entirely sure.
Why?
Because all of my brothers are here.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Sorry, I might not have been paying attention enough. How old are all the brothers? Because I mean, I imagine that's a factor too. I'm surprised that this person isn't reluctant to say anything in general, just based on this, just for the safety of the his brothers or adopted brothers or his brothers in general.
Or, babe, listen to me though. You need to get your brothers help too. You need to get out of here so you can help your brothers. I was raped too when I was young, and you know something. I wish that I was more brave to do something different, because then you have to worry about the fact that if you don't talk about it, he could be doing that to your little brothers. They're 7 and 8 years old. You don't want. Geez, like anything could happen. If he's doing that to other kids, he could bring you guys diseases. Anything.
I'm aware, but I'm just waiting in order. I'm essentially waiting until I'm 18 because I actually have a timer, like a quite literal timer.
When you say
February
rape,
16th.
do you mean rape or do you mean molest? Like, is he actually penetrating?
No, yes.
Oh, is that the difference between rape and molest? Okay, I guess that makes sense. I figured it would have all been under the same umbrella, but okay. I mean, still, I feel like, well, I mean, the actual penetration is worse, but it's still all disgusting behavior.
I'm aware of the
Oh my
difference.
God.
I turn 18 in 16 days, 1
Wait, hold
hour,
on a second.
17 minutes, and 11.
Do you mean molest? Like, is he actually penetrating?
No, yes.
Jesus
I'm aware of
Christ.
the
Oh my
difference.
God.
That's fucking
I
horrible.
turn 18 in 16 days, 1 hour.
I got so caught up in like the semantics of what I didn't realize what he had said. Like they were getting like actually like violated, like penetrated. That's fucking terrible. Jesus Christ.
17 minutes and 11, 10, 9, 8,
This
7,
is really bothering me
6,
right now. I'm
5,
not even.
4, 3, 2, 1, 16 minutes, 1 hour and 16 days.
Jesus. What has he got, like a countdown timer on there? Damn.
Devil is a liar.
Let me ask you this. Have you been to the police
I go every single week.
and they don't do anything?
What I'm curious about is he goes every single week. How come there hasn't been like retaliation? Like how has he gotten away with like not getting retaliated against, I wonder? I know that's a weird question, but I would have imagined that he would have been like angry about that and he would have not let that happen. I'm just curious about it.
I haven't told him.
Oh, so I guess the
Why
police
did you
aren't
go to the police
communicating
if you
that.
didn't tell them?
Well, I didn't go to the police. I go because I was put into the program by my father. It's just another addition as to he can say, my kids are perfectly okay, which has been done
No,
before.
no, this is different. If you go to the police, they will do something.
I mean, maybe again, if not all the kids are willing to say something, they might not be able to do anything. I mean, you have to have like legitimate proof of this going on for the police to do something. Honestly,
If they have information.
That you are the
Warrant
information.
information, babes.
Wouldn't they need a warrant for anything?
No.
And they will keep you safe. They're not going to let you go back to that house, and they're going to pull every kid out of there, which needs to happen.
I mean, maybe during an investigation, would they actually do that? I mean, they might. I'm not like super educated on the process. I do know that, or at least my understanding is, in a lot of these different, foster system can be very abusive, and people get away with it. Unfortunately, it's not very well monitored. That's my understanding of it. So, yeah, I mean, I could understand the fear of it. It's easy to say, no, they'll do something, but then like, what if they don't? What if they don't take it seriously? Especially with the media having positive attention on this guy, and people in general probably just don't take what these orphans, I guess you'd consider them, as seriously. They're probably sitting there thinking like, oh, they come from a shitty background, they might just be lying. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that they are. I believe them, but
and he needs to be in jail.
You need so I give PC.
What
Yes, they
what's
UPC.
the,
Like they're gonna put you inside of a placement so that you can be safe. Yes, right, Rafi?
yeah. Once they pull you out,
I'm surprised he's doing this on like a public podcast. Hey, what's going on? Because I would have I mean I would have assumed he would have been terrified, but then again he's almost 18, so he's probably thinking of it from that perspective.
from where you live, you can't go back there. They're not gonna bring you back there.
And they won't bring no other child in there neither, especially with that with these allegations until a full investigation is done. And it's not gonna be
There was 8 full investigations done.
okay, but
Not once have they removed us.
listen to this though, because
No.
you're saying there was 8. Okay, because now this is the thing, and you're saying that because I just want to make sure that everything. So who told him that that people were being touched? Was it somebody else told him that? Why was there an investigation that happened if you never told him anything?
My other brothers have one of them ran away and was returned by the constable, and then the constable stated that there was allegations made, and CPS came the next day. They took us to the child assessment center, where not just me but 7 of my other brothers testified against the word of my other brother, which essentially ruled it out. They also
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense because again they would probably be afraid of some kind of retaliation from their well, I guess they're the I wouldn't call them the father. I think that's like almost an insult to them. From the person watching them, I suppose.
decided that he was not cognitive mind, so they gave him even more
Oh.
medications.
Wow. Oh, that's really fucked up. So they deemed him like not really able to mentally function, so they just medicated him, which just makes it easier for that kid to get abused. That's terrible.
Currently, he is prescribed Latuda at 80 milligrams. I'll have to check. They're all kept in this bag.
What state are you in?
I don't want to provide that.
So how are you expect us to give you help, babe?
Oh, I guess he's being really vague about it. I just assume because he was this apparently was a big TikTok star dad. That at least that's what the video insinuates, that everybody would have known who they're talking about, but I guess not.
I don't know what to do right now. Like, listen, we're not gonna do anything that's not good. We actually want to help you.
I'm aware, but
You have to go to the police. There's no way the police was told about this, and you're still in the house.
no, the officers were not told about this because the mask that we put on is damn near invincible.
Okay, so you're.
And again,
I would like to say something to clarify. If you can correct me if I'm wrong, but so basically you're saying that you and your brother, one of your brothers testified, but you all like testified against it, and you're telling us.
and they had it thrown out.
Okay, so you're telling us that it had been thrown out, and now you're saying that you guys can't say anything about it because you guys can't agree upon trying to, tell your.
Yeah, they're afraid that nothing. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Not your. Tell the police. Can you guys agree?
So
And not for nothing,
the
if you
major
tell the
problem.
police the same thing that you're telling us, that your dad bribes you every time that you guys want to go. Every time that he does something bad, he's bribing you to get back at your good graces. You need to tell all of that because this is not right. And what if you don't make it to your 18th birthday? You're counting down to it. What if he feels like, well, once he turns 18 years old, he's gonna leave or something?
It's interesting because what they're saying isn't like necessarily wrong, but I mean I don't think that they understand how petrified this kid is, most likely based on this situation.
If he's this sneaky to be raping you from 11 to 17, what makes you think that he's not gonna do anything else? He sounds like he's definitely not a good person at all.
Well, the thing is, I live like 3 minutes from one of the substations, so I have. Okay.
Well, that's
I
not
have
protecting
him
you, baby, because that's not.
I have him basically semi-scared of me, at least for the instance of I have sort of kind of gotten caught telling other people online, and he got terrified because I told him the truth. I have physical evidence, but the thing is, his lawyer stated that any evidence presented past the point of his trial, which has already passed, would be ruled nullified based on you can't try a person twice for the same crime.
Well, not for nothing, baby. I'm so sorry because
No. Hold on, wait. It's not the same. It's not the same crime if he still does it.
Correct, but
Did they actually say it would be nullified? I mean, I would imagine that they would say that since he's gotten off multiple times, that just the overall credibility would be considered lessened because of that. But with the past information, I mean, would it really be nullified? I mean, I don't know if that makes too much sense. If you had like objective proof, if anything, they just wouldn't trust the testimony or anything else.
Evidence that I have is presented for the crime that wasn't before stated, which was sexual indecency with a child on 8 counts.
No, listen to me. When was this trial, whatever, that this happened? When did you have the trial?
I don't want to give too much information. Again, sorry.
Well, you see, that's what I'm trying to help you, but you're not giving me no information. But I do know that whatever.
It sounds like you don't really want help, but you just want to vent, and that's.
It's like, I don't know. It sounds like he doesn't really want help. No, it sounds like he does want help, but he's just skeptical of actually getting effective help.
Like I don't know what to do at that point. But
No. It sounds any evidence you cannot use it for an old trial. That's correct. But if he went on and did it again, that's new. That's not old. You understand what I'm telling you? If I rob you today, and they say or whatever, like they say the same thing. I can't use the evidence for me robbing you now. That's fine. But if I rob you again tomorrow, that's a whole new case. That's a whole new case. That's all new evidence. That's new that you can use.
So I guess the major point that I was trying to get to in the very beginning was, because I know I asked what should be done to him. I'm asking more of, should I, basically, I also am afraid of retaliation. Like if I'm getting pinned for retaliation, because one of the major things that happens here that I don't even want to say it, I'll type it.
Okay.
Basically, he's going to just say, no, it was you.
What?
You're basically getting manipulated if you.
Oh, you know what he probably said, and this is just a guess. He probably said something along the lines of that he makes me molest my brothers too. That's what I would imagine. That's terrible. But I could see that being like part of it. One, I mean, it would probably just get the guy off because he's a disgusting predator. But two, it might be like an additional manipulation tactic of like, well, if you say anything, you've did it too. So like, you really can't say anything. You did it too. You can't say something about it. You know what I mean? Damn, this guy's a real scum piece of shit, huh?
You keep continuing to be manipulated.
What he makes us with each other, he makes y'all have sex with each other, you and your brothers.
I like how that he was like, I want to type it to you guys because I'm like really, like I don't want to like say it explicitly. And he's like, so you molest your brothers too? Like you're forced to do that? It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why would you just be so open about that? I don't understand.
Yes.
Getting raided?
We asked you that earlier.
You did?
Yeah, and you said no.
I didn't hear you ask that. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, because I asked you. I said, okay, is it your brothers that's doing it? The live is.
Oh, no. My brothers weren't the ones that were doing it. It was my father making us.
Yeah, that.
No, tell you something. You can go to the police. This has nothing to do with the old case. If it happened again after the trial. If it happened after the trial, that's a whole new case.
Okay,
that's a whole new everything. You can go.
So I do plan on going to the police. That's why I have a counter. And when I'm there, I have one final bit of legality. I will tell you the state I'm in. I'm in the state of Texas. And
oh my God, they will fry
sure.
him inside of the state of Texas. They will fry him. They'll probably have him on a death penalty for goodness sakes. The state of Texas is overly commonwealth.
When the podcast ended, the host, Twaya Paines, reached out to authorities to notify them about the information she had just discovered.
Did they all have like a voice changer on? That was interesting.
However, there was one issue. She didn't know the name or the location of the caller, but that was no issue for law enforcement because they were able to trace the call back to Haim's home address in Houston, Texas.
Well, hopefully they actually did something about it, Hopefully something was going on. Maybe he contacted them because he needed like he wanted somebody to do like an extra push for him, because he just wasn't able to do it. I could see that.
When police arrived at the address, Haim was arrested and the caller, and then 17-year-old teen, was questioned by detectives as a witness. Initially, the boy stated that he didn't know what detectives were talking about, but when they revealed that they had listened...
I wonder if part of the issue is that, like, and this is like the most horrible thing, I wonder if for these kids that came from such horribly abusive scenarios, I wonder if they were like, well, you know, what's happening to us is horrible, but at least it's better than where we're at. We don't want to lose it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a horrible thought. It's just a horrible thought to even think about, but I wonder if that was one of their motivators as well.
To the podcast, he began to shake and held his head down. It was then he started to tell them his side of the story. He told detectives that he wanted to wait until he was 18 to say something, as he believed authorities wouldn't believe him as a child. You see, according to the teen, 8 separate abuse-related CPS investigations were opened, but they were closed because Haim would either bribe or scare the children. Haim also reportedly would tell the children that it would be his word against theirs, and ultimately the case would get dropped due to insufficient evidence. What should be noted, though, is that the CPS still haven't confirmed or denied whether any previous investigations had taken place. When asked how long he had been abused, the boy told detectives it dated back to August of 2016, just 2 weeks after being adopted by Haim. He was just 11 years old. The abuse began by Haim asking him to go into his room at night to massage his feet. This would eventually lead to sexual abuse. That continued for a while, but the boy explained to detectives that when he was 14, it turned into rape. So, Haim was arrested and charged in relation to abusing the 17-year-old. But that wasn't the end of the case, because more of the children, the younger ones, would also tell detectives that they were being abused as well.
Damn, look at this show. I guess he's on dialysis or something. It looks like he has a catheter in him and everything. But you know this is a show. Oh wait, did somebody beat the shit out of him in prison? That's funny if they did.
I wanted to go on the court. Mr. Cohen is complaining of being ill this morning. Just wanted to let the court know. We're going to, of course, proceed, but I just wanted the court to know that he had mentioned that. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And Judge, I'd also like to invoke the rule. So if applicant has any vehicles he's going to testify in this hearing, I'd ask the police to out of the courtroom while other people testify.
Thank you.
Clause number 1650641 stated that versus Haim Cohen, President is Mr. Cohen and his attorney.
Yeah, the voice changer to protect. I understand that. I think that it's probably just difficult for him to voice change everything. That's probably all it really boils down to. It's probably difficult for him to just isolate one person and voice change that one person. So he's like, yeah, we might as well just do it for everybody. That makes the most sense to me, at least. That's probably what it is, honestly. So.
And I apologize, sir.
Nicholas Toops.
Nicholas
Toops.
So
Toups.
And Mr. Paul Johnson, representing Mr. Cohen. On both sides, ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor.
We are, Your Honor.
And the state has informed that they want to invoke the rule. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
So the rule has been invoked, and obviously.
But I mean, I feel like at this point, it's not really very productive. It's actually kind of weird, you know.
That's not what the rule is. So if y'all have any witnesses that are going to testify in this hearing, they must exit the courtroom, and can you please monitor regarding the particulars of the rules. Both parties. Okay. And with that said, let's proceed. The state of Texas has filed a motion to revoke the bond and deny bail pursuant to Article 1, Section 11B of the Texas Constitution, based on a new law violation, which the state is alleging committed the offense of injury to a child, filed in cause number 1808490 against a minor child identified by his initials YYC. In addition, the state alleges that the defendant
makes it like impossible to hear what the fuck's going on.
Numerous court settings, as well as in a hearing held on 1/27/2023. The state argued that these misrepresentations violated his obligations to appear in court, and therefore the court was unable to ensure the public safety and his appearing in court at a future setting. This is signed by the state of Texas.
We're watching a video about like a foster dad that's like a predator to the kids that he adopts.
Are both sides ready to proceed?
We are.
The state is ready, Your Honor.
State, please start your proceedings if you have any.
Yes, Judge. Prior to the first witness, Your Honor, I'd like to offer in certified copies all labeled States Exhibit 1 through States Exhibit 13.
Yeah, this is why we need Mama Max. True.
They include the indictment. States Exhibit 1 is the indictment of the cause that we're moving forward on, which is 1650641. States Exhibit 2 is the bond conditions that were put in place on October 31st of 2019 by this court on cause number 1650641. And then State's Exhibit 3 is the original motion to revoke the defendant's bond, which you granted, Judge, on December 4th of 2020. State's Exhibit 4 through State's Exhibit 13 are the complaints in
That's actually a good point. It's not the voice changer. It's the audio of the courtroom is bad. Yeah, you're probably right.
the new 10 cases that have been filed.
Your Honor, go ahead, discuss it.
Did he get the shit beaten out of him, or is that some kind of eczema or something?
But, Your Honor, we're going to object to State's Exhibits 4 through 6, 8 through 12, as not relevant to this hearing. These offense dates are before the bond conditions were finalized and filed in this case. Object to State's Exhibit 2, because that bond was revoked, and therefore that's not relevant to this hearing. And yes, that's correct, Your Honor. Those bond conditions are not relevant to this hearing because they were revoked. The bond conditions that were filed on 5/4/2022 would be the ones that are relevant to this hearing.
Judge, the bond conditions in State's Exhibit 2 were the ones that were also put back in place after he was released from custody after your bond revocation, which is shown in State's Exhibit 3. And then all of the other cause numbers are just for the court's reference with regards to the cases being filed. All of the case in which we're proceeding on today was indicted when all of those offenses were charged in complaints. So that's why I'm offering all of these documents for the court's reference.
Defense, your objection is overruled. The exhibits 1 through 13 will be admitted over objection.
Judge, would you like me to present them to you this time? Judge, just to address the issue of the one bond conditions to the next, the reason why the one bond conditions that we have in place on October 31st of 2019, you did revoke those in November of 2019. He was then placed into custody for a series of days in December of 2019. The reason why we did not put those conditions in place from November of 2019 until May of 2022 is because he never came to court throughout that time. And you know that because you were here. And his defense counsel approached and he was never present. And the reason why he was never present from about February 1st.
How the fuck did he just not show up to court? I mean, this guy's a fucking pedophile predator. What the fuck?
2020 up until February the 11th of this year was because he was reportedly on hospice. We then had a hearing on January.
Oh, maybe he's dying. Well, I mean, I guess God's taking care of him then, huh?
27th of 2023. But prior to that hearing, his defense counsel somehow got him to sign those bond conditions, never him being present. So that's why he was not on bond conditions the entire time, because he was purportedly sick and couldn't be here. And on January 27th of 2023, we had another hearing with regards to the status of his health. Throughout that entire year, we requested through his defense counsel, because he was never present, for him to provide documentation of his diagnostic paperwork and results from a medical professional who stated that he was terminal from.
Oh, or he's just lying about being on hospice and he can't get the actual documentation for it because he knows he's fucked.
Diseases. He never provided that. He still has not provided that. And that was January 27th of 2023, when you and I were here in court on that hearing, and he appeared via Zoom. And I would like for the court to remember the fact that he appeared bedridden. He in fact coughed up, had his son sitting next to him, and acted as if he couldn't even sit up in a wheelchair during a court hearing, which was the first time he appeared for more than a year on this case. After that was when we got the information with regards to the podcast. At that point in time, CPS went in and we
I'm not object to the state testifying about what happened. None of this is in evidence we have heard, none of this from a witness, and it's not in the court record that I've been able to see.
Well, I've been present all the years, so I got the history of the case.
How the fuck do some people not able to see this? What?
I know that, but I would object to her.
I know that, and she's just reminding the court.
This whole court thing is like a mess right now. I wonder. I wonder if this is why people felt a little. I wonder if this is why they felt a little bit, apprehensive about going to court because of how fucking dumb these people seem. I mean, well, how inefficient the system seems to be.
But I do remember the history of the case. Just for her.
So we are here now on his second violation. Whatever bond conditions were put in place, he's very aware that he's not, and so is pretty much the entire community, they're not supposed to sexually abuse children or physically abuse them. And we have proof that on February the 8th, 2 days before he executed the search warrant, after he appeared in front of this court to not be able to even come to his feet, or come to court that he was up on his feet beating a child with a belt. And no matter what that officer stated, he helped sign those charges into place. And it's not whether his opinion or not, it's the court's opinion, whether or not we reach preponderance of the evidence in that case for injury to a child. And I would argue to you after you watch that video that that is not normal discipline of a child. It's not. Hitting a child about the chest, hands, and feet area as they cower on a couch and scream because they didn't perform on a cell phone or a TikTok video or whatever he was trying to have that child do is not.
That's why he was beating them, because they didn't perform on I mean, first of all, you shouldn't be beating your kids. I understand like a smack on the butt, you know, but beating your kids, I mean, that's insane. But because they didn't perform in a fucking TikTok video is ridiculous.
Typical discipline. The child screaming indicates pain. The child subsequently verified that pain in his own forensic interview. That is an injury to a child. That in and of itself revokes the bond, and it should then be denied bond on the case in which we are here. But I then would argue to you that that video shows so much more to this court about the safety of the community. While I agree that that child is not the child in cause number 1650641, that child is a child of our community, and the safety of the community, including that child, should be considered by this court. I would then argue the fact that he has misrepresented his health and his ability to stand on his feet and get to certain places and be here in court, and he's done that for more than a year, is shown very directly in that video. He has misrepresented to this court his ability to function, to stand, to be present, and that misrepresentation has kept him from being in court on this case and the ability to move forward on it for more than a year. That in and of itself is an
Jesus, he was fucking delaying the court for over a year? What the fuck?
issue of the safety of the community. And I would beg the court to see that as his inability to appear in court unless he is actually in custody. So the state would argue that we have met our burden, and we would request that you revoke his bond in cause number 1650641 for the second time and deny him a bond in that case. And then in all other cause numbers, we would either ask for no bond, but if the court's not willing to do that, request very high bonds in all the other cases.
After reviewing the evidence in this case, I know you all are newer to the case, but I do know the full history of the case, and this court has asked repeatedly for records regarding your client's health, and I received records, however they were not clear, so I asked for testimony, and I have never been provided with a definitive answer whether your client is in hospice care or not. And based on what I've received, I don't believe that there's ever been an actual treating physician that diagnosed him as terminally ill. And I've asked for a
Jesus.
hearing.
How did he even get far enough to be able to delay it for a year? You just have to claim that you're terminally ill and they don't do anything about it? Like, that's all it takes? And they're like, yeah, you just provide the paperwork and they give you way too much time to be able to do that? Is that basically what's happening here?
And every doctor or every person that testified was basing it on some records that in the end came from the defendant's own history of him having a terminal illness, but yet I have not received any, after asking both sides for the records, which I've reviewed, I've had the state review them, the defense had an opportunity to review them as well. I never received an indication that an actual physician has stated that he has a terminal illness. And I also do remember, and it was great theatrics that day, but yet on this video, he's up and down, you know, able to discipline. I did not play with my bond conditions. And I do believe that the state has proved by preponderance the allegations in the injury to a child case. And I also believe that you have tried to misguide this court with respect to your illness. You will be held at zero bond. I'm not going to give you another bond until this.
Yeah, put him in like Gen Pop too. he'll get what he deserves at that point. That's what they should do.
Try this case as fast.
Probably claimed that, and the judge gave the defense a chance to get the proof, and then it turned into a delay game. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. And they just tried to keep him out of jail as long as possible. Okay.
As I can. How long is it going to take?
Judge, we have expedited with going through our crimes database, all of the other evidence. So I'm thinking that's probably going to take a couple of months. I would say the beginning of next year.
Okay.
Now, before you go thinking that's the end of the story, it isn't. You see, in 2018, Haim had applied to become a part of a program that would allow him to house foreign exchange students.
Jesus Christ, this guy's like a fucking... This guy's really just like the fucking worst of the worst. He's really just trying to find just incredibly vulnerable people. What the fuck?
For him to take part in this, he would have had to have been background checked, but the only issue was he lied about his background. In the end, he was given the green light. Towards the end of 2018, a 16-year-old student from Spain was housed with the Cohens. He said the issue started within the first month of his arrival. It began when Haim started to make a big issue out of small problems. And when this happened, he told the boy he would need to make him happy. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, he sexually abused him. The abuse went on for roughly 8 months before the student approached teachers at his school to tell them what had been happening. The boy was removed from the home, and Haim was arrested and charged on 1 count of indecency with a child in the spring of 2019. The boy told police he didn't tell anyone to begin with because he didn't want to lose a year of his education and wanted to complete the exchange program, but in the end, he had to come forward. You do have to question why the children weren't removed from Haim's care. After all, the abuse continued after the 2019 charge. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he was out on bail and continued to abuse his
I mean, that's just how fucked this system is, no? Where they don't really get things done to the degree that they need to. That's what it seems like to me more than anything else. So
sons. And that's pretty much where we are today, nearly 1 year on. This time around, he's staying locked up, though, until further court hearings. It isn't clear...
I mean, that would probably do more than lock him up. They should lock him up with somebody. They should, you know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
This moment in time, if the case will go to a trial, but I guess over this next year or so, the case will finally be wrapped up.
All right. Well, that was certainly fucking disturbing. That's all I could say about that.